this program we will see create an array of objects of a class. So create a class called inventory. Now what happens is how you create an array of objects of a class depends upon what your constructor looks like. If in this case what I'll do is I will create a constructor with three parameters. So there will be three parameters, meaning you need to be providing three arguments, and it all depends upon how many parameters the constructor has. So here we will create the constructor, so inventory, right? So it will be string and double, right? So this is a declaration of the constructor. And then what will happen is we will create set functions and get functions. In this case, what we'll do is I will simply create a get functions, and I'll leave the set functions out for another discussion. So here we will just write string get item and get commodity, and so that's the whole class. Then outside the class we define three parameters. Right, so this is our constructor. Then we define the other functions. So the next one is get item. Sorry. Yeah, get item. So that fully defines the class. Now what we can do is we can start the main function. The main function, create a constant here. Then we'll create an array size, and what happens is how you create an array depends upon what your constructor looks like. Here the constructor has 3 parameters. The rule is this: if you have a default constructor, meaning the constructor's parameter list is empty, then you can create an array just like this. This will be fine, right? So this is if your constructor parameter list was completely empty. There was nothing here, meaning you had a default constructor, meaning you were initializing, not setting the values. Then you would simply go like this. Then you would need set functions, obviously, to set the values for item, quantity, and price. Okay, so we don't have set functions here, but we don't have a default constructor either, so we're good. Then the second rule is that if your constructor has just one parameter, meaning if these were not here, meaning Q and P were not there, you only had one, then you need initialization list. Okay, so I'm just gonna comment this one out right here. Right. The second is if your constructor takes one argument, meaning there's a one single parameter. So here it would look like this. Supposing we only had item. Then you need to use initialization list. So that way it will be like, it will be like nuts, bolts, clamps, washers, right? So we have a default constructor. You can go like this. Then you need set functions, set the values for all the member variables. If your constructor only had one parameter, meaning string n, assuming these two are not there, right? So assume these Q and P were not there, then you can create an array by using initialization list, right? Like this. Okay. The third case is like we have more than one parameters in the constructor. If you have more than one parameter in the constructor, then you create an array by populating the array by creating what are called function calls. So here, our case, it's going to look like this. Start the curly braces, then write this is called to the constructor and provide the 3 arguments. First for item, next for quantity, and third for price. Put a comma after that, come to the next line, next function call. So for each item of the array, you have to basically make a call to the constructor. So if your constructor has more than one parameter, then you create or populate your array of objects by literally making function calls to the constructor for each item separately. Okay, so item 1, item 2, item 3, item 4, item 5. As you can see, it's pretty laborious. And the previous case is if your constructor accepts one single argument, then you can create an array of objects by simply creating an initialization list. Okay, so that's only possible. Excuse me, autofill by the ID. Right. So initializing list if constructor accepts a single argument. So that's initialization list. And if your constructor is default, meaning empty parameter list, then you can go ahead like this, but then you would need set function to set the values of the member variable. So first thing you want to look at is what does my constructor look like. My constructor in this case looks like it takes 3 parameters right here. So that means the only choice I have is by populating this array by creating 5 separate function calls to the constructor and providing values for the member variables in each case. Okay, each member variable. So that populates the pretty much the whole array. Now what you can do, you can simply read it back. So we can write a for loop. And here what we can do is we can create a little table. So we can start from here. And right, so we'll be using setW, IO manip. And here we can write this item number, so next one would be setW for the name of the item. So wash is like 7, so it's the biggest one, so we'll make it 10. So it would be stock of I. Now we can write dot get item, then next item is like 4, so let's make it 6. Okay, so read back is pretty straightforward. So here we are, it simply reads back whatever we typed in. So here a little bit of formatting is required, other than that it looks pretty okay.